Hey there, how's it going? This is Eric with Exclusive Tutoring San Diego. And what I want to do today in this podcast is give a couple of tips about getting ready for your college applications. Now, I know some of you guys are already working on them. Great job. But I know there's also a big handful of you that are actually just getting ready and just about to start with them now. So here are a couple things that I want to let you guys know about possibilities and approaches that help my students out when it comes to their college applications. So number one is to truly plan ahead. And what I mean by that is not to only plan for just where you're going for college, but what you think your future and what you want in your future, what it'd be like. Do you see yourself as a professional dressed up going to work with a briefcase? Do you see yourself working in a cubicle? Do you see yourself working with people or out, in the field? Do you see yourself working in the ocean or in a mountain or somewhere else in the world? Do you see yourself traveling? These are questions that I think are very important to ask, because where you go to school nowadays does dictate the opportunities that you have, but it's no longer limited like it used to be. You see, our parents, when they used to have their choices of what they wanted to do in the world, there were only so many different options in terms of new careers. Engineering, learning how to build things in terms of woodwork and metalwork. But computers were still just starting to form, and that technology hadn't quite taken off yet. And so, whether it was taking care of people, educating people, farming, cooking, making food, etc., there are a lot of these basic types of jobs that were laborious. And then you would go to school to learn about, the newer things, the new technologies, and the new things that could help the world out. Now, the thing about that is the fact that as we've gotten to this stage in our world, in our modern world, it's no longer just about getting a college degree, because a lot of these jobs and a lot of the work that's required no longer requires only just one type of skill. It's actually multiple skills across the board. So I think it's more important to think about what you would like and what you would want first, and aim for that, because from there you can start to think about how you can attain those possibilities and therefore have a greater chance toward happiness and success in your life. Now, the next step that I want you to think about are the financial options, because through public schools there usually are a couple of options in terms of your undergraduate degrees that are actually very, very good choices. Because what happened over the course of the last few years, actually the last couple of decades, there's been a big shift in terms of the way money and the way that our degrees are influenced. So, for example, back in the day when President George Bush was in office, the graduation rates for the U.S. were actually fairly low. They were in the 60%. And from there, it was unacceptable. We needed to raise these graduation rates in order to allow our students and for our graduating, young adults to be competent in this world, to be able to make a living wage. Now, at that point, a high school graduation degree, a GED, a general education diploma, meant that you knew certain things in the world. And because the graduation rate was a little bit lower, the effects of supply and demand were in effect. Now, what happened was we raised these graduation rates, and as we raised these graduation rates, there were some inorganic results or inorganic ways that we approach this. And what I mean by that is, instead of helping our students understand more material and teaching them how to be competent in order to achieve that GED, we found ways to allow students who didn't graduate alternate routes to attain that diploma. And as they did that, it led to a very interesting effect, because there we have a bunch of new graduates that are now considered incompetent to the general public. And now, even though our graduation rates are higher, there is a higher possibility of an employer receiving one of those GED high school diploma students, and who wasn't necessarily supposed to, because what happened was they gave them alternate routes. These alternate routes did not require these students to achieve to the level that was required by high school. So instead of the A through G requirements that are required for a college or to graduate and be eligible for some of the colleges in the California school system, they would actually allow these students to graduate with a fraction of those classes being taken. In addition, there was something called the high school exit exam, and this high school exit exam was actually really meant to evaluate, our graduation percentages. But what happened was they gave students who didn't graduate the first time and didn't achieve the 50% requirement on that test, they would give them multiple opportunities to pass. And in doing so, it led to the devaluation of what the high school diploma, what the GED represents. So from there, everybody is now actually required, in a way, to go to college in order to be considered a competent worker in this world. And so the high school diploma, they say when you graduate, you can only command a certain amount of money. And as you get your diploma from your bachelor's, get your undergraduate degree, it only raises it so much. Now, the question is why? Why is it that we also have all these college graduates that aren't getting these jobs that they want and making the money that they want? Well, a lot of it has to do with the fact that there's actually a lot of these schools out there that don't have your best interests in mind. They actually are. There's a new category of schools that I want you guys to be aware about called the for-profit college system. And this for-profit college system is where big business goes in order to make a profit off of the unsuspecting and the poorer communities. What happens is education is supposed to be something that helps lift you out of poverty. But in doing so, some of these people signed these contracts and loans to go to a for-profit school, and the return of their investment is considered minimal. What really sucks is the fact that there is a lot of money taken out and a lot of money given by the government as grants to these students. And in doing so, it led to a situation where these students ended up with diplomas and graduated with something that wasn't worth the $160,000 to $200,000 that they spent. And now what happened is that the Board of Education has found certain of these schools to be guilty of it and now need to pay back certain amounts of money to these other students who now don't have the value that they did. So it's important to be educated and to think about that, because here's the thing. That second point that I was trying to make here is that your financial situation is very much determined and dependent upon what type of loans and where you go to school for this undergraduate. Because I'll tell you this, a big percentage of the students who want to make a high amount of money, the ones that want to make six figures, there's a very high possibility that you may be thinking about graduate school. And in that case, getting to a good graduate school has more to do with you flourishing and doing better at the school that you're at. So sometimes choosing a public school route and going through that may be more advantageous in some cases if it means that you do not put yourself into debt. So consider the community colleges. In terms of 2 years, you may be able to get your associate's degree, or be able to graduate and be able to transfer to a different more prestigious school in the area, or you can look for different levels of state schools. For example, the UCs offer the community college route, they offer the CSU route, and they also offer the UC route. And they are somewhat tiered in a different way, but ultimately you do want to choose where you go according to the types of education that you're seeking. Do you want to be a doctor? Do you want to be a veterinarian? Do you want to be a dentist? There's also other things that you truly need to think about. Now, one last point that I want to make in terms of your college planning is to consider the major and research from there. Know that certain places have the resources for you to be able to be at the top of your field and top of the industry when it comes to technology in your industry. So do your research. Find out who the Nobel Peace Prizes winners are, who the top researchers, who the top professors are in the specific major or field that you want to do. Now, if you're unsure what you want to do, you may want to choose from the types of classes that you've done best in or the ones you have the most interest in. But another choice is to actually go ahead and take a personality test. This is one of my favorite things to do with my students, is ask them to take a personality test and see what the Myers-Briggs has to say. Because the Myers-Briggs personality test actually categorizes the way you perceive the world and the way you interact in the world, and actually can give you some suggestions as to what career options may be suitable for you to try out. Now, what I want to make sure that you understand is that you may want to approach this in a way to say, hey, these are my top options, and this is the school with the best routes and the best backup options as well. So you may want to think about your future. If you are one of those people who likes to change their thoughts, or you may think that something may not be suitable for you in the future, go ahead and approach it with that caution. But remember that in the end, it is about adaptability, and you may have to choose, and you may possibly switch your major. A lot of people go through college and end up changing their major their second or third years. So keep that in mind as well. It doesn't mean that you were a failure or anything in any way. It ultimately just means that you found out what exactly you wanted to do. So I know that I went a little bit longer, but again, this is Eric with Exclusive Tutoring San Diego. I run Plan Organize College, which is a hashtag that I use on social media to help you guys find my material. I am very focused upon helping you guys out when it comes to preparation and getting ready for college, getting ready for your major, applications, etc. So, if you've got questions, go ahead and send them over to me at eric@exclusivetutoringsd.com. And, we can chat a little bit. I've put a couple of my different materials out online. They are across my LinkedIn, they are across my Instagram, etc., and also on my website, exclusivetutoringsd.com. And if you just go on there, there's actually videos and different things and content that I've put out that will actually help all of you out when it comes to college preparations and getting ready for anything that comes your way for your career. Now, again, you got questions, go ahead and let me know. I'm going to continue to try and put up, talks and short podcasts once every couple days, hopefully, to help out with Plan Organize College and to get some more content out there for you guys to listen to. Hope you guys have a great day. It's a beautiful day here in California. Enjoy the rest of your studies and your planning. And again, if you need any help, go ahead and let me know. See you guys.